Winston Churchill had a lot of interesting lines, and he and Lady Astor in England were having a big argument one night, and she said to him, she said, "If you were my husband, Winston, I would give you poison." He looked at her in his drunken state and said, "If I was your husband, I would drink it." That's kind of funny, and I like him, Winston. He's my main man. Let's swing over to America, and there's a tragedy here that happened the other day, and I say that because I liked her so much in Cheers and other movies that she did. Kirstie Alley, she was a fantastic star. She was gorgeous. And she was a Republican. She was a big fan of Donald Trump, big fan of the conservative lifestyle, and many people in Hollywood shunned her because of that, and she stood up to them. She was strong, she was powerful. President Trump gave tribute to her the other day, and I think it's great, and I'm sad to see her go, and my condolences to all of her friends and family. Now, over to a Democrat city. There are many of them, and they run them poorly. Some of these Democrat people, I don't think, could run a refrigerator. The politicians, we should go from the bottom up. We all kind of focus on presidents and prime minister elections and other things, when in fact the important ones, I think, are councilors and mayors of cities. You have cities like Philadelphia and so many others, Chicago, I could go on, that have Democrat left-wing whacks running the cities, and they're poorly managed, very poor, and things are bad, and it's not safe. You have a guy in Philadelphia that has a gas station, and he says in a story, he says, "I've had enough of this." He's hired his own armed guards. They have AR-15s and shotguns, and they're standing out there talking about intimidation for the bad guys. I think it's great, but really, does this have to happen at a gas station? It does, and that's sad. Other countries like Canada and England, you can't do that. You should, but you can't, because the government says you can't defend your property. The good news is, still with these Democrat cities in America, that you do have the right. Sometimes you have to really fight for it, but you do have that right. Indonesia, this is a weird one. This is really weird. Their parliament got together the other day and said, hey, no more sex for anybody if you're not married, and if you commit adultery, boom-a-de-boom. Not quite, but it might be coming to that. You get a year in jail if you're out fooling around with somebody before you're married to that somebody or anybody. You're not allowed to have sex with anybody. Why is that happening? I mean, that's a real kind of bang on, pardon the wordage, or bang on human rights, I guess. It's a disaster for human rights. And these new laws, you know, they're because of this rise in this religious, you know, conservatism, maybe, with a, you know, Muslim majority country, but that's the new rule. You get caught fooling around, you got trouble, so better keep it to yourself. Can they change human nature? I don't think so. Is it right that they're doing this? I don't think so. Is it right that people sleep around with everybody? That's up to them. Probably not. Whatever. I mean, who are these people that come along and make laws like that? It's craziness. Swinging over to Canada now. A lot of swinging going on here today. You got the prime mistake, Justin Trudeau. He paid a visit to an Indian community where 11 people were killed in a stabbing. I think it was back September. Terrible, terrible tragedy. A couple of brothers started out killing people with knives, and Trudeau now says, you know, it's a terrible thing, and he's right. I give him that. He had a nice little speech. However, at the end of it, he said, I'm going to commit $62.5 million in funding for this community of 3,500 people. He said, you know, we're going to build a wellness center and repurpose an existing treatment lodge for substance abusers and so on. That's all nice talk, but these people do get money a lot throughout the year, and now they're getting this big lump of sum for a small number of people. Whatever. I mean, I don't know all the background to it. Maybe it's needed, but this guy gives money to everybody all of the time. That's his solution for anything. If you cut your finger, you get money. There's a terrorist here a couple of years ago. He got $10 million. Whatever that number was, but this is his thing. This is what he does. What he didn't do, he didn't ban knives. That was kind of interesting. These people killed the two brothers as they started. I think it was one that did most of it, whatever. 11 people were murdered with knives, and he didn't ban knives. So what would have happened if they had shot people, those 11 people instead? You get the message where I'm going with it. Hey, y'all come back. Have a nice day.